Hey guys, it's Cynthia with Simple Eats, and today we're going to be making homemade wonton soup. All right, you can choose to add noodles if you want, but I'm just making the wontons today. So for your ingredients, you're going to need half a pound of ground pork and half a pound of shrimp that's roughly chopped. We have one celery stalk just for garnish at the end. You have some wonton wrappers that are store-bought. All of the Asian grocery stores have these. Some salt, some white pepper, okay? And then 2 cans of Asian chicken broth. The reason why you want the Asian chicken broth is because they're made with ginger and scallions and bones, like that's it. The other Americanized chicken broth has a lot of additional herbs in it, and it's going to change the flavor profile, right? Then you have 1 teaspoon of soy sauce, 2 teaspoons of rice wine, and then also 2 teaspoons of sesame oil. All right, so let's get started. All right, so you're going to start off with your half pound of ground pork and the half pound of roughly chopped shrimp. I'm just going to add ingredients here, guys. All right, so again, 1 teaspoon of soy sauce in, 2 teaspoons of rice wine in, 2 teaspoons of sesame oil. Right. I'm just going to add a little bit of salt because the soy sauce obviously already has salt in it. And then white pepper. Okay. And then now we're just going to mix it all together. Your mixture is placed together. It'll look something like this. And you don't have to include the shrimp. I like having pork and shrimp wontons. That's a family thing. And you can always just use ground pork if you want. Okay, so you're going to take 1 wrapper at a time. You're going to take roughly about a quarter size spoonful of filling. You don't want it too full, otherwise it's going to burst the wonton as you boil it. Okay, place the filling right in the middle, like so. Then you're going to dab your finger in the water around 2 sides of the outer edges of the wrapper. Fold it over like a triangle. Okay, you're going to give it a tight squeeze so there's no air in there, like so. Okay. Next, I'm going to go ahead and wet your finger again and dab just the flaps, the corners, the bottom of both sides, and then fold it over behind, like so, like wings. So it'll look like this. All right, so there's a little wonton. All right, let's repeat that process just so everybody gets it. And obviously, the more you do this, the more you'll get used to it, the quicker you'll become at it, right? So that quarter size filling right in the middle of the wrapper with 2 sides of the wrapper. Fold it over like a triangle. If there's air bubbles, squeeze out the air bubbles. Okay? You don't want a loose wonton. That doesn't even sound right. Okay? So you have a nice triangle. With 1 side of the flap, or both sides, loop it around the back. Fingers are slipping. And squeeze it together like so. And put in the 2 cups of chicken broth, and I've also added 2 cans of water because the Asian chicken broths are a bit more saltier and higher in sodium. There's a few different ways you can fold wontons, and so I'm going to show you a second way as we're waiting on this water to boil. Same thing, take 1 wonton wrapper, about a quarter spoonful of filling. Let me add a little bit more there. Wet 3 sides of the wrapper edges. Fold it over in half. So you're going to have a nice rectangular shape versus the triangular shape. Okay, so no air bubbles. Air bubbles are bad. I'm going to let this top flap flip backwards. I'm going to wet the corner at the bottom and fold it over in front. And our chicken broth is boiling. We're going to put in the wontons 1 at a time. slowly into the broth. Some people like to have the wontons boil in water in a separate pot, but it doesn't really make a difference. Once all of your wontons are in, you're going to give it a quick stir. Just move it around, make sure it doesn't stick to each other. And then you're going to leave it alone and wait for all the wontons to raise up to the surface. Whenever they're done, they automatically float. Once they're all floating, you're going to leave it there for another 1 to 2 minutes before you turn off your heat, okay? And I have this boiling on high heat. And 5 to 6 minutes, and so our wontons are done. I can turn off the heat and we can serve. Once you've scooped out your wontons into a bowl, garnish on top with the chopped celery that we had and some white pepper, and there you have it, homemade wonton soup.